that white folks suffer, you are afraid that if we ever come to power, we will do to you and your fathers what you and your people have done to us. And I think you are judging us by the state of your own mind, and that is not necessarily the mind of black people.
Hello, brothers and sisters. I really hope you're all doing fine from wherever you're watching me from. Now, Minister Louis Farrakhan has been calling out the black folks to come out and unite. Now, he has been saying that the oppression they are facing in the hands of the Western systems won't end until they're united. Now, he has also been calling out the white Americans and the white systems to have respect for the black folks, but because it is them who helped build the US. So let's watch this video, then have a really quick discussion at the end of it. Thank you so much.
All of the efforts that whites have made and government has made to try to solve the problem in the way that government sees fit has not really worked. And blacks are still crying out for more and more and more. And I realize that this is an irritant to white people because you really don't understand. And it's not really your fault. It's not really your fault. You just don't understand. But I think if you gave yourself a chance to hear what happened to these black people that makes them as they are as an irritant to you and those who think you have done the best you could. And maybe you have, but I respectfully suggest to you that there's so much more that could be done, that should be done, and that must be done if America is to survive. Believe me.
Esquire magazine, on your stand now, an outfit I have no personal interest or professional monetary interest in. Pete Hamill writes about racism going to college. Brown University, the alma mater of Amy Carter, a highly regarded institution. Niggers go home was found in an elevator, a sign. Men and women were crossed out in lavatory doors, replaced by whites and niggers. The Ku Klux Klan is recruiting at Brown University. This is not to embarrass Brown. It is to say that anybody who thinks we've gotten somewhere is not reading the newspaper. Yes.
I would like to know, as a mother and a grandmother, what can we do to instill in our children coming up? The older ones, we can't do anything with them, but the little ones is coming out. What can we do as mothers to help? Because we can't leave America. We have our roots here. We would like to stay, but we would like to make it a better America.
If we wish to make our children better, one of the things we have to do is to teach them the knowledge of themselves. As a little boy, my blessed mother kept instilling in me the love and the pride of being black. She made me to know my history, to know my roots. So I grew up with a love for myself and secure within myself, never feeling inferior and certainly not feeling superior, but that chip on the shoulder that the young lady spoke about is my self-assurance, my confidence, my ability to speak the truth without fear. I don't bend when I don't have to. I don't scratch where I don't itch. I look white people in the eye and speak honestly and truthfully and candidly and unhypocritically to you. That's not a chip. That's just self-assurance that comes from self-knowledge. Teach your children that, and whether we are here or there, we'll be able to make a future for ourselves.
And we'll be back in just a moment. Sir.
I'd like to, first of all, welcome Minister Farrakhan to New York City. My name is Dennis Raheem Watson from the National Black Youth Leadership Council. On behalf of black youth at colleges and universities all across the nation, high schools, elementary schools, who look up to you for divine leadership, for spiritual leadership, for representing all of the aspirations of our grandmothers and ancestors who made us be all that we can be.
Your question is?
This is not a question. This is just a level of applause and commendation for one of the greatest minds we have on the planet Earth. You need America. You don't need America. America needs you. You are the salvation, and I applaud you.
Well, I'd just like to say thank you for the words, but, you know, we need this too. And if it's mutual need, then there can be mutual cooperation to find a solution to a problem that is bringing all of America down. See? So let's try to find a way that we can dialogue. Blacks and Jews and blacks and whites. I am not against a relationship, but it just can't be the master-slave relationship. That's all over.
But you can't. I assume, given the fallout that ensued in your description of Judaism as a dirty religion, will move you never to use that phrase again.
I think someone in the audience said it right. Shame, shame, shame.
Shame on who?
On you.
On me?
Yes, because you keep repeating the big lie. The lie that's told over and over and over and over again.
Now, I have said over and over again, I have no...
Until Jews and blacks and others believe that I actually said that. Let me
You didn't say that?
No, I did not.
Now you're going to accuse me of taking this out of context,
No,
aren't
I'm
you?
not either.
I'm going to play your own voice. I did this before. You're accusing me of taking it out of context. This is cut. This is number 3. Let me just say, Minister Farrakhan,
Sure.
I don't get any. This is no joy to be going around the block with you again on this. But when you smile,
joy to me either.
well, but when you smile, it conveys a kind of, oh, stop worrying about this. I know what I meant. This is not the precision of language that we would expect from a man whose mind is so admired by the last person who stood up.
Well,
Now let's, here we go again. Roll the tape. Here is your voice and the words graphic. To shield your gutter religion under his holy and righteous name.
Now,
What? You said that. That's your voice.
I want to say that no sane, intelligent, religious person could ever condemn the revealed word of God from the source of purity as dirty or gutter or unclean. The word of God comes to people in the gutter to purify their actions and their conduct and cause them to live upright. But religion is not what we preach. Religion was and is what we practice, and that's why Moses told Israel, obey the law and statutes and commandments that I give you this day. Jesus said, be ye doers of the word and not just hearers of the word, and Muhammad taught that mere belief counts for nothing except that it is carried into practice. I close this, and I hope I never have to answer this again. Black people are in this country because so-called Christians, not practicing the true word of Jesus Christ, were practicing a dirty religion. Some so-called Muslims were involved in the slave trade and in some wicked dealings in Africa, not doing what the prophet said, but practicing dirty religion.
So Muslims...
And I said, sir, that Israel practiced dirty religion, taking the land from the Palestinians, using lying, thieving, and murder, and the name of God as a shield for their dirty practice in the name of God. And this is a travesty in religion.
Yeah. You never in your life used the phrase dirty religion when referring to Muslims.
Not
Never,
in that context.
Never before.
Please,
Did you
sir,
ever say that a
you
Muslim,
do
did you
not,
ever refer to their dirty religion?
Of course. Of course. There's too much hypocrisy in religion.
All right, let's talk about this
and
then.
that's why the world is in the condition that it's in.
Mr. Farrakhan, sir, you are drawing thousands and thousands of people in your public appearances. You have the cops, and you claim the FBI and the CIA is on your case, and I wouldn't doubt that myself. We have a responsibility. We have a media's responsibility is to figure this person out. Wow. You powerful. Look at this crowd here. You're a powerful man. You can draw a crowd. You're also a religious fundamentalist. Doesn't make you bad, but that's what you are. And you also had this to say about a black reporter for the Washington Post who quoted Jesse Jackson as using the word Hymietown. Tell me why you're upset about this. Here is Mr. Farrakhan talking about Milton Friedman. Here is, I'm sorry, Milton Coleman. Roll the tape. Listen to this. Why are you
example of Milton Coleman. One day soon we will punish you with death because you are interfering with the future of our babies for white people and against the good of yourself and your own people. This is a fitting punishment for such dogs.
Now, yeah, come on.
Now,
Does that make you proud?
yes,
Does the
now,
man
wait.
have a responsibility to speak to this?
Of course.
Then why?
then-
Tell your people then to be.
Then let me speak to it. Now, if you would be honest, that tape was cut up and pieced together. Let's just a minute. Oh, just a minute.
You didn't say?
Just a minute.
say he should be
just
killed?
a minute. You know, it's interesting how white folk sit here thinking that I have a reason to lie to you as though you are so powerful and you are so wonderful and I'm so ashamed of my words that I have to twist and turn. Please, you're not dealing with that kind of man. You're dealing with a man who means what he says and says what he means. Now listen, put that in context of a campaign where Jesse Jackson was trying to be the first man to be nominated from the Democratic Party to be the president of the United States. He made a statement off the record to a black reporter. And that black reporter gave that statement to a white reporter, and it came out in the Washington Post. And from that day, poor Jesse started slipping in the polls with white people.
And so
I took Milton Coleman to task. I referred to him in the language of a traitor. I referred to him, and these are the actual words. I said that that man should be ostracized from us. When he comes to church, tell him, you're not wanted until you repent. This is what I said. And then I said, one day, soon, when we have a nation, we will punish our traitors with death like you punish yours. Now, just a minute, let me finish. I talked to Milton Coleman. I want you to know this, Phil, and your audience. I talked to Milton Coleman by telephone right after it came out in the press that I threatened his life. And when I said to Milton, Milton, I did not threaten your life, nor your children's, nor your wife's. Milton said to me, Farrakhan, if you will go before the public and say that, I'll sit down and talk with you. I said, Milton, I'll do one better than that. I said, I'll be on Nightline tonight, and I will say it on national television. He said, where will you meet with me? I said, I'll meet with you anywhere you want to meet. And Milton said, will you meet me at the Washington Post? I said, yes. I went on Nightline and made that statement. And the next day I called Milton Coleman, and Milton Coleman told me that the people at the Washington Post forbid him from seeing me. That was 6 years ago, and the other day I sat in front of Milton Coleman at the Washington Post. For the first time in 6 years, I brought it up and scolded these white folk who kept me from reconciling a difference with my brother. You cry about how joyful it is that the walls are tumbling down in Germany, but you are busy erecting walls, keeping brothers from coming together with their own.
And we'll be back in just a moment. Yes, ma'am.
You constantly speak of injustice in the country. Look at the injustice that you're doing to these people. Let America be the way it should be. What do you want to separate everyone for? What is the purpose of that? That's not this country.
Not my time, please. First, miss, you said, let America be what it should be. Should is the conditional. And the conditions now, ma'am, the conditions are that America is separate. You have 2 million Indians on reservations, Indian women being sterilized. You have 30 million blacks unemployed, unemployable.
Whites and Jews
But
and
look,
all different kinds of people, not just blacks.
Miss, I got to say this. Listen. Miss, Jews have organizations and leaders looking out for their concerns. Whites have organizations and leaders looking out for their concerns. As a black person, I reserve the right to look out for the concerns of my own people. And if we all look out for the concerns of our people and do justice by our people and by one another, then possibly America might be conditionally what you think it ought to be, but I really don't think you got that amount of time.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
I can dare say this is the only country on the face of the earth where black, brown, white, polka dotted all have equal opportunity. They can make it.
Miss, of course, I have to.
Briefly. Yes.
I have to respond.
Briefly.
Minister Farrakhan, I've been reading the NAACP reports and the National Urban League reports, and recently I was reading in the Washington Post where Dr. Kenneth Clark, one of our greats, was now lamenting over the fact that he has found that America is indeed separate and unequal, and that he has lived his entire life fighting for integration. Would you please, for these few moments, to the blacks who are listening in the audience, speak of a black united front and how we can begin to pull our people together?
Certainly, the lady who raised the point that America is a great land of opportunity, we can't deny that America has given everyone who has come opportunity. But to the blacks who built this, I suggest to you, miss, you are not qualified to speak for us. You are not qualified to speak for us. You are only qualified to represent yourself and your opinion. But really, those of us who have suffered this, we know what we're talking about. So now I would like to just address this point.
I'll give you an opportunity in just a moment. Yes.
I just want to say that I'm so scared to go around the world next year because I was never a prejudiced person until I'm listening to you. It's really scary hearing what you're saying. I'm very scared. You're not preaching.
My dear young lady, when you go out into the world, you're going to find a reality that you're going to have to deal with. Please don't live in a fantasy world created by television. There's a very real world out
I
there.
was raised to be white, black. I was raised to be equal to anyone. Listening to you, you are so prejudiced. I just can't believe it. I am shocked. You're scaring me.
Mr. Farrakhan, I sit here and I'm seething. The things that you're saying only divides us.
Well, what is it that he said that makes you angry?
I don't like what you say about Jews or any other people. These things that you... And when you look at us, you're not...
talking about Jews. He's talking about an abasement of their religion
Phil,
by
excuse
some
me.
people.
Excuse me. What you're doing is Just a moment. You have been sitting there for an hour, and you've been snickering and sneering at us.
Yes.
We don't look at you that way. We're giving you the respect the full hour to listen. You're not Martin Luther King, who brought us together. I could listen to him forever, but you're dividing us.
Well, since I have 1 minute, I really thank you for the privilege of speaking to you and with you. I would hope that we as black people would come together and form a united front to deal with the problems that confront us. And then I would hope that whites would actually begin to know more about the condition that you are totally oblivious to. The Kerner report said that most whites know nothing really about what it is like to live in the ghetto. So if, as the...
What?
Who is the mayor?
Yes, that we don't know anything about. Who's the mayor of New York that you're speaking to that you know nothing about, you reclaim?
Okay, I will give you this. I have only about 20 seconds to say that we will be doing another program, and we want you to participate. Those of you who didn't have an opportunity will have an opportunity in part 2 of this attempt to understand Minister Farrakhan and what he said and what his political ideas for the future are. And we'll also give this audience a much better opportunity to participate than they had in part 1. For the moment,
Services provided and promotional fees paid by the follower.
I am pleased to welcome you to part 2 of the Donahue two-part program featuring Minister Louis Farrakhan, who at the end of our last program left an awful lot of unhappy people in our audience. Not necessarily unhappy at anything he said, but unhappy because they had no time at all to say anything. So this is our attempt to give you an opportunity to express yourself and ask Minister Farrakhan to respond. Whom didn't we... Yes, yes.
I would just like to say that I am terrified that even you, someone who's obviously educated, has given up hope completely. Like when you call upon us, you say white folk, you say black people, Jewish people. Why can't we come together? We obviously can come together. We just have to find a way to do it.
The desire is good, but the reality is the total opposite of your desire. And unfortunately, as a young lady, you are not in the position of power to make the decisions to make America work. May I, you know, as an audience of intelligent people, I would like to just take a moment to say to you that I really don't think you fully understand what has happened to these people that you look at as second-class or inferior citizens in this nation. Black people who were brought to this country were stripped of their names, language, culture, religion, God, and taken totally away from the history of themselves. Here are 30 million people who don't wear their own names, they wear your names. Who don't speak their own language, they speak English, which is not their language. They never were allowed their own cultural expression of Africa. Don't you realize that when you turn a people upside down and inside out, then sell them not for a day, not for a year, but for 300 years, and deny us the human right to know, to read a book, to learn, to understand. And then after 300 years of that, you allow us into the church, but by that time you've painted Jesus white, God white, the angels white, and then all these black people have been subjected to a form of white supremacy, which produces in the reverse a black inferiority. And this is fulfilling what Jesus said, as a man thinketh, so is he. And as long as our people think the way they think, we will never be able to do what we as a people should do to correct our condition.
Over here, please.
Several people in the audience have said the things that he's saying, but you really...
What I'd like to say, there was somebody over there in the audience who said that they were afraid, they were scared when they were talking about the what he was saying, you see. And what I'm saying is, the other day, you asked Mandela, that saying, who is the one dying? From the policeman, from the KKK, from...
Hello, brothers and sisters. I really hope you're all doing fine from wherever you are watching me from now. Louis Farrakhan has been calling out the black community to come out and unite. Now, he has not done this once. He has been doing this the whole of his life. Now, this is a video back in the years when Louis Farrakhan was still energetic, and he called out black folks, and he said, you know what, no one else is coming to save you. This is the time we should save ourselves. No one took it serious at the moment, but we are actually seeing that there is need for the black community to unite. Those in the diaspora, those in Africa, those in the Caribbean, everywhere around the globe, that the black community needs to unite. Now, Malcolm X once talked about the unity of black people. Martin Luther King talked about the unity of black people. What is so special about all these individuals, and what is common between them? The only common factor between Louis Farrakhan, Martin Luther King, and Malcolm X is that they all advocated for the unity of the black folks around the world. Now, we've done so many things as the black community. We've tried so many other things. Now, we've done music, we've done all these things. And I feel like we've never tried unity. We've never tried advocating for the unity of the black community around the world. We've not had a serious initiative or a serious leader across the world who can unite Africa, the Caribbean, and the diaspora. Now, this should not actually just be like any other video or any other statement. Now, there is a lot of seriousness in whatever the black community should be doing. That we've seen our black leaders being martyred, and this has happened for years, and we keep on being silent, and the silence in us is whatever is killing us, is whatever is eliminating the presence of the black community. Now, you never know how much great the black community is. You never know how much great you are until you try uniting and, yes, talking to our own brothers and sisters. The beefing around with the black community is so much crazy because you've never seen this before. The black community has never been on one side for years. That even when we had great and serious leaders, we still had those people who opposed them. I know we can be opposed with the ideologies we carry around. We can have difference in whatever we say. We can differ on so many other things, but we cannot differ on the unity of black people. And Martin Luther King and Malcolm X were very, very absolute about this. And they were very strict that anyone who opposes the unity of the black folks is the number one enemy of the black people. That if you think you and your brother coming together and mending your differences is a problem and is a bad thing, then you are the problem. Now, if Africa could be one today, as we talk, if Africa could be having one leader and it could be having a single currency, if Africa could be a one continent or a one country, a one huge state, then we could be having a very strong continent of Africa. But what do we have instead? A continent full of resources is called poor. Continent full of brilliant minds is called uneducated and is called uncivilized, until we were being told, and we are actually being told how much civilization was brought to us. This is a mockery to the black community. It is time we actually should rise beyond this oppression. It is time we should actually realize that it has never been to the benefit of the black community. Everything that happens is to the exploitation side of the black community. How much are we going to see the extortion? How much are we going to see the blackmail, the exploitation of the African and the black community? Now, if we ain't ready to talk about these things at the moment, if we ain't ready to discuss the problems we have at the moment, then we ain't ready for greatness. We ain't ready for unity. We ain't ready to make Africa one. We ain't ready to call our diaspora brothers and sisters to come back home. We ain't ready to talk about the Caribbean. Now, it is a matter of time for us to unite. And we've been having leaders. And any leader who comes out to talk about the unity of the black folks has always been a threat to the Western system. What else should we do? The only thing remaining for the black folks to do is to unite immediately, because we are getting sanctioned. We are getting disrespected left, right, and center. We've seen how much our leaders are being harassed, how much they are being summoned in the midnight to attend a meeting in Paris, to attend a meeting in the White House. Now, if only Africa could be one, if only Africa was really going to stand and leave out these divisions, now we could be as great as China. We could be as great as Russia. No one could be threatening us at their will, that they could actually be feeling the heat from Africa. Just because your leaders take some pennies, just because your leaders have accepted to sell you out, it is the consequences we are now serving in Africa. The only time that Africa was close to uniting was when we were having the independence. It was the easiest way because we were going to shut down all these boundaries that were brought to us, that we were going to call out our brothers and sisters who have been divided and be given different languages to speak in Africa. Why do we have the Anglophone, the Francophones, and all the rest? Why do we have people speaking English, others speaking French, others speaking Belgium, others speaking German? Where did we go wrong? And what actually happened in Africa? I still wonder. Why do we have the western side of Africa still under the influence of Emmanuel Macron, the president of France? Why do we have most African countries still taking orders from Donald Trump? Why do we have so many Caribbean countries taking orders from the Western countries? Why do we still see our brothers and sisters suffering in much pain and agony in the hands of the oppressor in so many other countries around the world? Now, why do we still have an oppressive Western system that thinks they're the alpha and omega in the world? It is because we are not united. And the moment we will test the unity of the black continent, the moment we will test the unity of the black community, believe me not, there is no going back, because we've suffered a lot, and we are not going to accept any more sufferings. That we must unite. This is the time. We must not compromise this opportunity. Now, There is a common saying in Africa that opportunity only knocks one. The very fortunate people are those who listens and attends to the knock immediately. But those who are very unlucky and those who will stay and lock their doors to this opportunity, they're those that are going to suffer the consequences of every other action. Brothers and sisters, it is not business as usual. We must stand, we must oppose every other thing that is not going to benefit us. Why are we so much afraid? Why do we think that the Western system will eliminate us? They can't eliminate everyone, you know. They can eliminate 2 or 3 people. But when we are all united, who will come and eliminate us? Nobody. And I feel like we talk and we have no actions. It is the sad part of it that we've been talking time to time. We've been trying to make things better in Africa. But if we are not serious and if we are not going to take everything we say with absolute seriousness, we are going and heading nowhere. So, brothers and sisters, let's not talk about the unity of black people, the unity of Africa, then do the opposite. We should talk and actually realize that it is us who have the chance to change whatever our lives requires of us. It is only you who is in control of your own life. If God gives you the chance to live, then God gives you the power to decide on your fortunes, the power to decide of your fate. They say we have less control of fate, but you can still have the control of fate, because sometimes you go into a ditch seeing that this is not the right path, but you keep on moving, you keep on walking. What do you expect? Sometimes we've done so much crazy things as the black folks, but we need to change. We need to do better. And this is the time I feel like we should appreciate the likes of Malcolm X, because they did shed some light and they did shed some truth to us. Now, Martin Luther King, the same. And now we have had the latest generation of the people like Louis Farrakhan, who have been calling out the U.S. government for the oppression against the black folks, who has been calling out. He has been very vocal in his whole life about the black folks coming together, ending social injustices, not just by themselves, but by also calling out the leaders they elected. And this is the only time we have. You know, we can't be complaining about the same thing for so many years. That at times comes when we need to react. We need to act more than we talk. You know, we should not only talk and have no actions. It is a sin. It is a sin. If you let your brothers and sisters suffer in the hands of the oppressor while you have the chance to talk, it is as bad as you betraying your own brother or your own sister. So let's not